Hello everyone, and it's another CADvent video with me, Robin. I'm the technical director here at Man & Machine, and once again today we're looking at Autodesk Revit. As you can see, because it's in front of you already. Following on from the last video, we're going to do a little bit more understanding about a Revit view and actually what those views are used for. But before we do so, let's have a little bit of understanding that a Revit view can be copied, duplicated and used as many times as you need to. Remember that in Revit, you're creating a 3D building. You're creating a model. That model, you need to look at it in a lot of different ways, a lot of different orientations to be able to create floor plans, section views, 3D renders, ceiling plans, you name it. Those are all known as views inside of Revit, and each view can show a number of different things in a number of different ways dependent on the story that you're trying to tell when it comes to creating a drawing for construction. Because of that, every view that's active inside of Revit remains active with anything that you do. So the back end of the last video, we created this section box. So that means that now, whenever I activate my default 3D view, that section box will be active. The first thing I want to show you is that without anything selected, we have view properties on the left-hand side. I can use those view properties to scroll down and turn off section box to disable the section box. I'm also going to rename my 3D view, and I'm going to call it Default 3D View. Because I've renamed the default 3D view, if I click the house again, it's going to create a new default 3D view. Whatever I do with that 3D view, such as turning on a section box, selecting that section box and playing around with the section cuts, changing the options on the bottom left, such as the level of detail, the visibility. I can then right click and rename that view to 3D section and create as many different views of the model as I need to either edit and work with the file or create those drawing views. And this is important. When you're working in Revit views, what you see is what you get, and what you see is typically what is also going to print. So let's just head over to a ground floor plan and just try and explain this in a little bit more detail, because I've got this 2D view, and this 2D view can be used, as you've seen me throughout these videos so far, in order to generate our model. But there's also some really crucial information that we're going to want to show at some point. Dimensions, maybe some notation, whatever it might be. Simply put, it might be that my ground floor plan here, I'm going to right click and duplicate that view to be able to create a ground floor construction drawing. So this would be my working view, but this would be a view that allows me to create construction detail, for instance. And that might be selecting a wall and turning on a dimension, grabbing that dimension and editing it so that it's viewing the way that I want to, such as external finish to external finish. It might be adding a new dimension, such as internal to internal, or even the side of an opening for a window to the external face. All of this detail that we're adding, dimensions, notes, whatever they might be, are only being added to this view. If I go back to my working view, they're not there. They're still in the background. The knowledge is still there about those sizes. and it's still active. So if I drag this window to the left ever so slightly, my ground floor construction view has updated. They are one and the same model, but you're looking through different windows into that model. We create duplicates to create as many different views of the model as we would want to tell the story when it comes to creating drawings. Yes, that can be dimensioning, but it also might be the visibility of stuff, because on my construction drawing, quite frankly, I don't care about my FF&E, I don't care about my furniture. So on the ground floor construction drawing, I might want to select every instance in that project, and I might want to right click and say hide in view everything that sits on that category. Hide all the furniture. It's still there, look, it's still on my ground floor view. Let's just use WT to window tile. It's still on my ground floor view here. It's still in the model. I've just removed it from this model, this drawing, this view. I can bring that back at any time. I press the little glasses button down here. Sorry, not the glasses button, the light bulb button. And that allows me to see anything that's hidden. I can select anything that's hidden, and I can right click and say unhide in view to bring them back. Different views can also have different scales. Look at the bottom left. They're both on 1 to 100 at the moment. This is your print scale. If I turn off thin lines, which I have on by default up here on my quick access toolbar, you can actually see the 1 to 100 scale that this view is set to. Quite thick. I can come in and I can remove this and say, make this view 1 to 50, because I'm going to print this on a piece of paper where 1 to 50 is relevant. Whereas this one's going to be printed on a piece of paper where 1 to 100 is relevant. And it will show you the different scale, and the dimensions and everything that has text will all scale dependent on that setting in the bottom left-hand side. So your views can have different dimensions, different scales, and everything else that goes with them. You can hide objects and turn them on or off across different views so that things are working the way that you want to. We can also use these different views for many other things. For example, I want to create a section view so that I can start detailing up the construction around a window or the construction of a particular type of wall. I can go to my section view tool, click 2 points to draw a section line. That section view will be created and placed within my project browser. I can double click that to activate it, or double click on the arrow tip of the section marker to activate that view, which once again in turn has the ability to control the level of detail and the scale and the shading. Again, remember that everything you do inside of Revit is live. So whilst we've got this section, if I grab the section and move it so that it's inside the window, it will show inside the window. If I change the depth, it will show so the depth is changed. So everything that I have and everything that I do inside of Revit is always live. And that section view itself can be modified. I can grab a crop region. I can move the crop region so that it's relevant and valid for the area of the wall that I'm looking at. And then I can go in and grab my dimensions and start making dimensional changes and adding information onto that sectional view. We can also place detail components and all sorts of other stuff inside my view. Finally, you can also duplicate views with detailing and with dependents. Duplicate with detailing will copy all of the detailing and all of the annotations and everything else that you've added against that view and place it onto the copy. Doing it as a dependent will keep the two linked. I'm going to grab this duplicate here and I'm going to actually rename this and call it ground floor room layout. And in that ground floor room layout, I'm going to go to the architecture tab, go to my room and area panel and choose room and click once in each of the 3 rooms that I've created on this model. I'm going to use those rooms and show you that I could rename the rooms if I wanted to, or renumber the rooms if I wanted to. I'm not going to. I'm going to select my view by deselecting everything. I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to say that I want to turn on a color scheme for the view based on architectural rooms colored by room name or room number, and press OK. I'm then going to go to annotate and place a color fill legend on that view, which shows me exactly how the view is shaded and what it's showing. Views in Revit are generated in a way that's going to allow you to create as many construction drawings as you need to. That's going to let you create ground floor plans, FF&E plans, reflected ceiling plans. You just go ahead and build them in a similar way to what I've shown you during this video. Those will then be placed, which we're going to do in the next video, onto a sheet to start creating those output drawings. Hopefully that's been useful. We'll see you in 2 days for the last Revit video in this series, but you can also join us tomorrow for some more Autodesk Inventor. Thank you ever so much for joining us, and we will see you next time. Take care.